On this episode, we're going to talk about how to dispute your personal property taxes with Gary Treader. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 10 of the Bob Wahl Show. On the Bob Wahl Show, we talk business, we talk St. Louis, and we talk real estate. On this episode, we have Gary Treader joining us again, and obviously last episode we talked about disputing property taxes. Well, he agreed to do another episode on how to dispute personal property taxes. So Gary, thank you so much for adding another layer to what I'm providing as far as disputing taxes. This is a topic I am completely ignorant to, just like everyone else. So you're running the show this time. So I guess we'll start off with the experience you've had with disputing taxes, and just let us know things people can do to do the same. So
okay, I guess I'll just kind of talk about how I got started doing it, because it's interesting. We talked about at the last episode that we think we know everything, and we really don't, and really we don't always have the time to dig into the details of things. So I was teaching this class for a number of years on how to dispute your real estate taxes, and I always knew you could dispute your personal property taxes. And again, personal property is like, RVs, automobiles, boats, things like that, that you pay, once a year, you pay on those. So in the other class, I said, yes, you can dispute those, but I had no clue how to do it myself.
Right.
So
I don't think anyone does, really.
Yeah, so I thought, here I am telling people you can do it, and I didn't even know how to do it. So I want to say about 4 years ago, I went ahead and dug into it to see how you actually do it. Okay. So I could incorporate it into my class, or at least didn't have to be dumb about it. And so that's when I started looking into it and just going to the website and reading the information, just like I say to do in the other one, in the other disputing your real estate taxes. So that's what kind of got me started. Okay.
So how does it work? You get, it's pretty clear cut as far as I know. We get, I think it's even before, I think it's December, I usually get our personal property tax bills. Does that sound about right? Where I'm in the city, it comes in usually comes in December, early December, mid-December, I feel like, and then we pay it. I look at it and I think, holy crap, I gotta pay that much money for me and my wife's car.
I didn't budget for this.
To own it. So how do I even know? Like, I wouldn't even, and I see the value that they put on it, and I just think, well, that's just, it's a system, that's what it is, and that's what I have to pay. Now, if I look at it and I think there's no way it's worth that now, how do I know that?
Well, first of all, counties are different. Once again, sorry to say that. Right. Like in St. Louis County, well, let's just talk about, yes, you get your tax bill usually about November, December, and you have to pay it by December 31st. If you don't pay it, you can't get license renewed, things like that. Right. So if you want to drive a car and you got renewals, you have to pay it. There's no, it's not optional. Right. But you don't really see the values in things and what at that point in time. Where it comes into play is usually around January, you will get what's called a personal property declaration form. Okay. And that basically says you have to state what you owned as of January 1st of that year. Okay. And they give you, I want to say on that form, they tell you what you're being assessed on. Now, what is really confusing is the number they put on there, in no way, shape, or form does it really tie to the value of your car. It's a percentage that they use. And so most of us look at it and say, I don't understand this. I'll just say, yes, I own this, or no, I didn't, and I'll send it in. And you have to send it in by March. I think it's March 1st of that year.
Every year. Is that every
Yes,
year?
you get it every year.
We get it, and we
Yes.
update if we bought or sold or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So since they don't really give you any information on how to appeal it or dispute it, I just filled it out and sent it in for years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then one year I decided I'm going to look into this and figure out what is it. So I went to the website, St. Louis County is where I live, and I've been paying my taxes for St. Louis County. And so I went to the website and just, like I said before, you just click on everything you could click on, get all the information you can, and I figured out how to do it.
Okay.
So the first year was kind of an experiment for me, just because I wanted to see,
Right.
am I going to get it? And what I found out about St. Louis County is that the value of your vehicle, they actually tell you how they figure it out. So let's say on your form, I think it's 3 times. I think
Where do they tell you how they figure it out? On the website, on the forum?
I believe it's a website.
Okay.
Again, we didn't intend to quite do this episode, so
Right. No, I get it.
some of it's from
Right.
it's all out there, and I'm just going to use 3, well,
Okay.
1/3. So
Right.
the value that they have on the declaration form, let's say it says your car is valued at 3,000, or you're being assessed on 3,000, but the value of your car is really 9. So you take the 3,000 times 3, and it's 9,000. So you might say, my car's not worth 9,000. I put 20,000 miles a year on it. It's really worth only about 7, not 9. And high mileage is really where you can save in taxes.
Okay.
Okay. So it does describe.
So if your car has higher miles
Yes.
than what the city thinks
Yes.
that you would probably be driving.
Exactly.
Okay.
And again, what are average miles and what's high mileage?
Right.
Okay. That's where the issue comes into play.
Okay.
Okay. And I typically put about 20,000 miles a year on my automobiles. But in terms of values, the average, believe it or not, the average number of miles that people drive a year is 12,000. Okay? And most people who are in the working force, I'd say, and have jobs and are not retired,
Right.
typically are putting way more than 12,000 miles a year on their automobiles.
Right.
And therefore, if they're putting more than 12,000, the value of your car is lower than what St. Louis County is stating as the value of the car.
Okay.
Okay. Again, I'm talking St. Louis County because St. Louis County does not track the miles on your automobile. If you
Okay.
live in St. Charles County,
They ask.
it's on your personal property declaration, and you're supposed to put the miles on it when you turn it in. So
Okay.
St. Charles County is
More
really
accurately
accurate.
calculated.
You can't really do much with St. Louis County.
St.
Excuse
Charles
me,
County.
St. Charles County.
Right.
St. Louis County, you absolutely can get a lower value and reduce your taxes.
Okay.
And I'm not familiar with any of the other counties, St. Louis City or
We'll focus on the
Jefferson,
county
so-
for now, and people will know that they'll have a good base of information to know that they can look into it in their wherever they live specifically, and the processes are
Yes.
somewhat similar, I'm sure.
Right.
It's just a matter of how you go about getting the information to the
Exactly.
state, probably.
So I'll go into how I did it.
No,
if that's
absolutely.
okay.
Perfect. Yep.
And I've done it at different points in the process just because I teach it. So
Right.
I wanted to experiment and see what happened.
Right.
And the first part is you get your personal property declaration in January and you have to submit it by March. So what I did was I attached a letter when I sent it in. And in the letter, I basically stated I have a 2000 automobile. It's got high mileage. Here's the miles that it has on it. I've got a 2010. Here's the miles on it. It's deemed high mileage automobile as well.
Okay.
Okay. And I attached a letter because the website doesn't really tell you, and I just like the warm fuzzy of knowing it. I didn't want to just write it
Right.
on this little piece of paper they give you.
Right.
I wanted to make sure they saw it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And I put it in bold and stated what I was looking for, but it's a really short letter. And I returned it with the declaration and sent it in. And
So you're appealing it with the declaration.
yes,
So
exactly.
you get your personal property tax bill along with the declaration.
No,
They come
two
separately.
different.
They
They're
come
separate.
separately, but it comes around the same time.
No,
No?
the tax bill comes by December 31st, usually around November, and you've got to pay
You
it by
explain
December
that. Okay,
31st.
okay.
Then in January, you get the personal property declaration, and that's due by March
So you pay
1st.
the taxes. So you still pay the taxes, then you dispute them.
Correct.
Okay. Theoretically.
And when
that's
you're
what
disputing them, you're
Okay.
disputing them for not the last year that you just paid. Again, we're paying taxes in arrears.
I see.
So,
Okay.
so let's say this is January 1st, 2016. I won't get my 2016 tax bill until December of 2016. My declaration is for
Okay.
January 1st of 2016. What did I own January 1st of 2016?
Okay.
Okay, so your tax is based on the mileage of your vehicle as of January 1st of 2016. How do you prove what you've got?
Right.
Okay, and this is on the website as well, under
Okay.
their frequently asked questions. Yes, you could just write it in, but you could make up a number, right?
Right,
We could all
right,
make
of
up
course.
whatever we want.
Right.
So they want, again, going to an unbiased, independent third party, they want to have a third party state what the mileage is. And what
Okay.
I have used is that if you take your car in and have it serviced, instead of your brother-in-law out of his garage, again, you go to a reputable service person, and I go to the dealer, and
Okay.
every time you take your car in for service, they write the
The
number of
mileage.
miles on the car. So what I do is I try to get a receipt, one of my invoices or receipts, as close to January 1st of that year. So it might be December.
So you'll time an oil change according to.
Actually, I don't try to time it because
Yeah.
I don't think it matters that much.
I gotcha. Okay.
So I'll try to look for a receipt in December or January, somewhere as close as I can to January 1st. And so I give them my letter that states the high mileage, and then I will give them a copy of the invoice because that's my proof.
Okay.
Okay? And so it's never going to be exactly January 1st, but I just approximate.
Right.
I'll state, the miles were, 220,000 miles on January 15th, so it probably had 219,400 as of January 1st.
Okay.
Because they're going to approximate as well.
Right.
And not use the actual value because it's not the actual mileage on January 1st.
Okay.
And that's good enough, and you just want an approximate number because when you're talking the difference between 12 and 20,000, the difference of 1,000 miles isn't that much.
So this process is more on paper.
Absolutely.
You're not
yes.
going in front of a formal
That's correct.
board or anything like
That's
that.
correct.
It's all on paper. And then, so you sent all the info in, and how long does it take to hear back?
You'll hear back from them. Again, it's a little cloudy because I've done it different steps in the process. And you'll usually hear back within 2 months, and you may just get a letter, and the letter might just state, we reviewed the information and we've adjusted it down to this number.
Okay.
Okay, and they might state, do you agree or disagree? And most of the time I agree, and they say sign it and return it. So I'll sign it, agree to the new value, and turn it in. So we came to an agreement. It was all done via mail.
Okay.
I have also had somebody from St. Louis County call me and state, yeah, I looked up your cars. This is what I think the value is. Is that acceptable to you? And you state either yes or no. You might debate a little bit. And then they'll say, okay, we came to like a verbal agreement. Next step is I'm going to send you a letter in the mail. I will need you to sign it, stating we came to a formal agreement, and just return it to me. You're done.
Okay.
Okay? So as long as you do it sometime, before March 1st, I've even done it. I've sent my declaration in after March 1st and did the letter, and it still worked.
Okay.
Okay? Now let's say it's May or June. At that point, because it was kind of so late in the process, I have actually filled out the paperwork, written paperwork that is a request for an appointment for an appeal.
Okay.
Okay? And again, they do not meet with you in person. They don't have time for that.
Right.
So at that point, someone's either going to call you on the phone and say, they'll call you on the phone and say, hey, what's your information? here's what I think it's worth. And when I submit the request for an appeal, I give them the same documentation that I would if I was doing it in January, because it might save them a step. And it does. Yeah. If you give them the information, you've just saved yourself a step in August.
Right.
And it works.
Okay.
It's great.
Great. It sounds like you've had a bit of luck doing that. I don't know if you call it luck, but you've had some success doing it.
And
so,
they think cars are driven 12,000 miles a year and that's it. But if it's high mileage, and
the flip side to that is, if you're not driving, the select few people that are driving minimal miles because they live right close, they're actually benefiting from the system.
That's correct. So I have, my parents are retired, and they might put 4,000 miles a year on their car.
Right.
So they're actually getting a benefit because St. Louis County is assuming that they drive 12,000 a year, which is average, but really they're way below average. So they have an older car with really, really low miles.
Yeah.
So they're benefiting from it. So, I mean, it depends on what you drive as to whether, you're overpaying or underpaying.
Right.
And it helps to understand how they do it.
Right. Well, a little bit simpler process, less explaining needed than the real estate property taxes. But really good information to know. And it can save you, especially if you're a 2-car, 3-car family, especially, that adds up and can save you quite a bit of money depending on the cars. So, well, good deal. Is that anything
one
else?
thing I haven't done, and again, I haven't experimented with all of it, is what if you have one vehicle that's definitely high mileage and another vehicle that's low mileage? Can you appeal just one of them and not the other one?
That's a good question.
I haven't done that yet.
I imagine.
So I would imagine
it's a car-by-car basis.
Yes,
I would imagine it's a car-by-car basis,
But they would have the option of saying, "What's the mileage on your other car?"
Yeah, let's talk about
They could do that.
Right. Well, what's the other one? Let's talk about that one. So
why
aren't you questioning that one?
And again, I don't know how St. Louis City works in other counties. You would have to look into that yourself to figure it out.
I understand.
And then the other thing is that they actually, in the frequently asked questions, they use the values. Oh, there is something else we could talk about. They use the values that are in the NADA booklet, which is the booklet kind of like our Kelly Blue Book that says what the value of a used car is.
Right.
They say they use it as of January of that year. I don't pay too much attention to that. I don't try to argue the value of the car. I just say the value should be lower because it's a high mileage car.
Okay.
So I don't try to get into the details of, oh my gosh, I don't have that book from January 1st because it's May,
So you focus more on
the mileage,
the details, and you focus on the fact, here's your system, but actually that's not consistent with
because trying to find out what they valued it January 1st, I guess I could go to the library and they have the hard copies from January, but I just don't mess with it. I just state it's overvalued because of my mileage, and it works for me.
Okay. Yeah.
There's one other thing, if you don't mind me saying.
All for it. Yeah, go for it.
The other piece that actually can impact the value of your car is the condition of the car. Okay, or if it's been in an accident.
Hail damage.
Absolutely.
Recent hail damage, that sort of thing.
Good, because we've had a lot of hail in St. Louis. And some of the hail damage, and this just happened to us, is that we've got a high deductible and we have hail damage on my wife's car, and we may not get it fixed.
Right.
And I'm glad we brought that up because now I can do it for this year.
Right.
We probably won't get it fixed. So when my wife's car comes up, I can state not only is it high mileage, but it also has damage that reflects the value.
Right.
And the way that if you've got damage on your car that hasn't been fixed or repaired is that they say, again, I haven't done this yet, but it's all on the website.
Right.
You might take pictures of the car and the damage, and you've got to go to an independent third party like a collision repair center.
For repair.
And you might get a quote.
Right.
Now, this is just Gary's advice, is you may want to go to 2 places or 3, because we all kind of know
we all have
that
a friend in the business.
A friend who can inflate the damage and the cost of repair. So you may want to just so you don't have to cross that bridge later on, go to maybe 2 places or 3, and then you're just going to average the number.
Right.
They'll average.
That makes sense. No, that's probably not a bad thing to do.
You take pictures and get a third-party cost estimate to repair.
Okay.
So.
Well, good deal. Anything else worth noting before we wrap it up?
No, that's it.
Good deal. Well, thanks
Go
again.
for it. I'll tell you what, when I appealed it, I said, oh my gosh, because I got a car that I bought in 2000 that I gave to my kids, and it was high mileage.
Right.
And when I first did it, I said to myself, I've been overpaying for 14 years on this car.
I bet.
But I couldn't go back.
No, you can't. You can't.
Anyway.
Well, thanks again. That's great info. The real estate property taxes from the last episode, really valuable. And I felt this is a great follow-up episode because not many people know anything about disputing personal property taxes. So great information. So thanks again. And that wraps up episode 10 of the Bob Wahl Show. Thank you so much for watching. It's awesome that we're 10 episodes in and going strong. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will catch you guys next week.
Good luck on your appeals. Go for it.
Goodbye, everyone.